Welcome back once again. Yesterday we talked about the Sabbath, the day of rest God instituted after He created everything. Let's look at the first 3 verses of Genesis 2 once again. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. And on the 7th day God ended His work which He had done, and He rested on the 7th day from all His work which He had done. Then God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because in it He rested from all His work which God had created and made. As a quick refresher, yesterday we discussed that the Sabbath predates the law, that the day of worship during the millennium will be on Saturday, and that Jesus is the only one who can abolish the Sabbath or move it to a different day. It makes it sound like we ought to be going to church on Saturday, doesn't it? Many would argue that we are no longer under the law. Yet, as mentioned, the institution of the Sabbath day predates the law as given by Moses. Funny enough, if it was the 9 commandments, no Christian would have a problem with it. I don't hear people arguing that murder, adultery, dishonoring your parents, or having other gods is okay. Wait, so you really are saying that we should be going to church on Saturday? No, I'm not. The point is, many of our beliefs are things we hold to because they're comfortable or convenient. You shall not murder. Sure, God, no problem. After all, I don't want to go to prison. Honor your father and mother that your days may be long. Hear that, kids? You'd better honor me. For I am the Lord that heals you. Awesome. I like being healed and healthy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. In it you shall do no work. Whoa, wait a minute. I'm not under the law. Okay, let me ask you one more time. Are you sure you're not telling us to go to church on Saturdays? Well, let's go back to Mark chapter 2. Yesterday we read verse 28, but let's back up one verse and look at verse 27. And He said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Just as with all God's commandments, they were instituted not to cause a sacrificial pain and not to test our commitment and devotion. God's commandments are designed to bless us. Don't commit adultery. Not to keep us from having as much fun as we otherwise might, and not to keep our spouse from leaving us. Rather, so that we can experience the tremendous blessings that only a faithful marriage can bring. Honor your father and mother. Not so that we or our children suffer in submission to flawed parents. Not to practice obedience so that we'll learn to obey God better. Rather, so that we can live long in what God has for us. Not because otherwise our dad might take us out, but because there is a tremendous peace and blessing to be had when we learn to live in submission. Honor the Sabbath. Don't work on Saturday. Not so that we learn to sit around doing nothing in practice for heaven, where we sit on clouds playing harps. Not to prove we love God by giving up all of the fun we might otherwise be having. Rather, so that we can experience the blessings that come from taking a day to physically, mentally, and emotionally recharge, as well as the unparalleled blessings that come from a spiritual recharging as we connect with our Creator. A time of no work where we put our trust entirely in God to provide for our every need. Again, not because it's somehow more spiritual, but because we learn to experience the overwhelming peace and joy that only come from trusting completely in God rather than in ourselves. But what about Saturday versus Sunday? Galatians 4:9-10. But now, after you have known God, or rather are known by God, how is it that you turn again to the weak and beggarly elements, to which you desire again to be in bondage? You observe days and months, and seasons and years. A similar sentiment is found in Romans 14, where Paul again says that those that have to observe certain days or eat certain foods are weaker in the faith. Now, if that's you, please don't get mad at me. I didn't say that. Paul did. If that's what you need to do it. And do it in peace. Paul is also clear that we are not to judge others over these types of things. If some of us are weaker in the faith than others in certain areas, we're likely stronger than others in other areas. That's why God put us together. The body of Christ isn't about trying to find where I'm better than someone else, but about encouraging and strengthening others in their weaknesses and receiving strength and encouragement in my areas of weakness. So what day should I worship? I honestly don't believe it matters. For most, Sunday is the easiest day. For others, Saturday works. If you really like the idea of a Sabbath service, maybe Friday night is a good time. Perhaps you work all weekend and only have Wednesday off. The point is this: there needs to be a day where we get together and worship with other like-minded disciples of Christ, and especially a day where we take a rest from our work, connecting with God and trusting completely in His ability to provide for our every need. It's not a commandment that we'd better do such and such on such and such a day, or that we need to suffer and sacrifice to prove our devotion to God. The Sabbath was created for man, and God set the first example of its importance as He rested from His work of creation. It's a wonderful blessing that God has for our lives if we surrender to Him. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.